Bidding wars can be a good sign of a robust housing market, but in the U.S., this competition between buyers is scaring some would-be sellers away, causing them to stay put and contributing to the lack of inventory. Kris Hudson covers real estate and the housing industry for the Wall Street Journal, and he joins us now. Hi, Kris. Good to see you. You know, during the last decade, the housing bubble, the bidding wars there were brought on in large part by easy mortgages, but now it seems a tight housing market is the main culprit. Is that right?
That's right, Tanya. Thanks for having me on. And that's true. There's a lot of different factors that go into this limited inventory we have right now. Obviously, we're not building as many homes as we used to. That's very slowly coming back for a multitude of reasons. But one really big factor is we have very reluctant sellers these days. A lot of people are still underwater, meaning their homes are not worth as much as they owe on them. And other people, which I call market abstainers, are those that are a little afraid to sell at this point for several reasons. The big one being that they're worried they won't be able to buy another home if they sell theirs. There's such little inventory out there that you put your home on the market, it sells quickly, but then you've got to go out and buy another one, and you get stuck in bidding wars, and you may have to actually rent someplace or live with relatives until you can finally land another home, and that deters a lot of people.
It's a scary prospect. If you own your home, you don't necessarily then want to become a renter if you can't afford to buy another house because, as you wrote in your piece, the rents keep going up.
Exactly, and that is going to add even more demand to the market as we go forward, which could create even a bigger squeeze on supply. Most of the new households being formed right now are going into rental properties. Now, those folks are eventually going to want to buy, and they'll probably want to buy in the short term. So that will even add to demand. And unless we see supply ramp up pretty dramatically, it means a lot of markets will get even tighter.
And where are we seeing the markets really, really tight right now? Is the Northwest particularly tight?
That's a good question. And when you look at the rankings, we have published some rankings today from Realtor.com of the top 25 tightest markets in June. You see a heavy representation from California. That shouldn't be a huge surprise because California often has been the tightest. There's really strong demand there. It's harder to get government entitlements to build, so it takes longer to build, and land prices are higher, so you have a lot of pressures on supply. You see the Northwest represented as well. Seattle is within the top 5 tightest markets in June. So it tends to be a very West Coast phenomenon at this point, and in the West as well, like Denver and even Dallas have very tight supply these days.
So what about new construction? Why isn't that helping to ease this lack of inventory?
That's a great question because there are a lot of factors on new construction right now. In fact, new construction is only about a level of half of what it is in a normal market. Reasons on there are builders are mostly building more expensive homes these days because those are the buyers that have been buying. The entry level has been a little bit depressed because the entry level buyer has been hampered by slow wage growth, slow job growth until lately. So we should see an uptick in new construction going forward, but there have been all these constraints like land supply, the entitlement process, and mostly fairly weak demand for entry-level homes that have kept builders from building a greater volume of homes.
All right, Kris Hudson, thank you so much for all that.
Thank you.